So what we're going to be talking about here really quick is are platforms giving up on short form content, or why are platforms giving up on short form content? It's a conversation that we've had here a little bit, but it's definitely a conversation that I have with my community manager every once in a while, and it's something I've been giving a lot of thought to. But let's look at it together and let's talk about it, and let's sort of see what the conversation is around this.
Companies are already giving up on short-form content. Last month, Meta announced that they will stop offering bonuses to short-form creators. Why, you ask? Well, it turns out that pushing short-form content actually loses Meta money. Here's the thing, while Instagram Reels have exploded in popularity, they're not exactly stealing market share away from TikTok. Rather, it's stealing market share away from themselves. Instead of scrolling through pictures or the newsfeed on Instagram, people are now scrolling through Reels. This doesn't sound like a big deal until you consider that Reels are substantially less profitable than Instagram's other products.
And that makes it a huge deal, right? So if the only person you're stealing market share from is yourself, and it's costing you money to do it, then that's the definition of a lose-lose, right?
In fact, according to Zuckerberg himself, people switching to Reels is costing the company $500 million every single quarter, or $2 billion every year. And the most ironic part is that this entire time, Meta had been paying creators to make Reels.
So Meta has lost $2 billion a year on Instagram Reels. And then on top of that, they've been paying people to make Instagram Reels. I can kind of see why this is something they want to get away from.
So really, they were paying to lose revenue. No wonder they stopped. But it's not just Meta who's pivoting away from short-form content either. TikTok themselves are very much trying to move away. In fact, they've been...
And if you look at that, I mean, TikTok's trying to get more live content. They're trying to do more TikTok live. I know it's sort of region locked right now, but a lot of people are switching over to doing TikTok live. All the bad decisions. Facebook's great for boomers. Facebook had its time in the sun. But Facebook is just almost like a sunset type of social media platform. Do you know what I mean?
aggressively increasing their max video length.
TikTok won't be around forever. It won't. And as they just said right here, and I paused it, TikTok has been increasing its max video length. You remember when it used to only be like 15 seconds? If you made a TikTok longer than 8 seconds, it was out of the algorithm. Like nobody watched more than 8 seconds. Now they're doing 60 seconds up to 3-minute videos.
What started at 15 seconds grew to 60 seconds to 3 minutes to now 10 minutes.
Okay, up to 10 minutes. You can make a 10-minute TikTok. You're getting in Facebook territory, except it's all fucking 9:6 or 9:3 or whatever the format is, like a really weird way to watch it. Facebook's going the way of MySpace. It is. I think it is, and part of it is because video and audio is so cheap and easy to transmit. Do you know what I mean, Sheldon? It's like back in the day when it was MySpace and Facebook, you couldn't easily watch videos. It was easier to see news stories and snippets and clips and read it. But now, like, transmitting video data is so quick and so effortless that it's easier to put on something and listen to it while you're doing something else, right? You're rarely on Facebook. I only go on Facebook to see what people that are older than me are doing.
TikTok has even been experimenting with landscape mode on Android. So TikTok is very much headed towards the direction of becoming the...
So there's two things about this, right? So like, if TikTok tries to take on YouTube, TikTok will fail. What TikTok has going for it is TikTok knows what you want to watch. So if you don't know what you want to watch, you just go on TikTok and just scroll, and the algorithm has sort of found out things that you will watch. And that is what TikTok has going for it, is for people that don't really know exactly what they want to watch. YouTube is definitely a different type of media.
YouTube where people don't search. Also, it's not like people search all that much on YouTube anyway.
Yeah, YouTube anymore, like most people aren't, unless you're looking up a specific guide or something like that. Most of the time you're just, if you don't know what you want to watch and you go to YouTube, you're just looking at your homepage, something the algorithm knows that you want to watch, and that's what you watch. Like you might search like I want to watch funny videos and then just let the algorithm pick it for you.
Most of the time, a homepage to find videos. But what happened? Why are all these companies pivoting away from shorts? Wasn't shorts the new medium due to ever decreasing attention spans and the need for constant stimulation?
I don't think so. I think that was just people saying it.
Well, it turns out that the answer is no. While short form content is great at garnering a lot of attention in the short term, it's not exactly the best model for companies or audiences long term.
And I think that's part of it, right? Like short form content is great for getting people's attention, but there's not enough time there to make you brand loyal. But that's one of the issues I've found with short form content is like I can get dozens, if not hundreds of thousands of views, but that doesn't create anybody that's brand loyal to me. After you see someone's post gets lost on your feed, that was always the issue I had with stuff that I would doom scroll. Is I would see someone be like, "Oh, this is cool," and I would like set my phone down to do something or want to go show it to somebody, and then come back and it's just instantly gone and you can't find it because you can't search it.
Instagram and YouTube are starting to realize that they invested way too much money on a low ROI fad, and TikTok is fighting hard to not become the next Vine.
And with TikTok, I do want to point out with some of the stuff going on in the U.S. If TikTok gets heavily regulated, it will kill TikTok. I know in the U.S. they're looking at trying to find a way to regulate TikTok through some sort of like child protection thing where you have to verify your age, and it's gonna like bring up all these like concerns for privacy for all sorts of people. Um, there's definitely a lot of things. If TikTok gets hit hard enough, it will pretty much kill short form.
So here's why companies got short form content wrong and why they're already back.
Because right now they're getting nothing. Yeah. And like in the US, there's concerns because it's Chinese owned corporation. And then there's also a lot of concerns because they're saying the same thing they say about video games and everything else, that social media is damaging the youth, and they use like random studies and they're saying all sorts of shit, whatever they can say to try to regulate it. You know what I mean? What about the mobile games from China? They don't care. The hearings with Congress, you lost. I didn't even watch it because I didn't want to get sick at my own country. I didn't want to puke in my own mouth that much.
Off. All successful creator-driven platforms need a strong base of creators. This is why platforms like YouTube and Spotify have even turned to offering exclusivity deals like it's NFL football or something. So it would be quite an issue if these platforms were struggling to grow a creator base, and that's very much the case with short-form content. This isn't to say that TikTok and Reels aren't able to garner a bunch of creators, because there's no shortage of that. But what there is a shortage of.
You like the idea of the law? Well, the thing, Ern, and so I actually talked to my wife about this. So follow me, and before you guys jump on and dogpile me, I like the idea of passing a law to protect children. The problem is, if you pass a law to protect children by adding all these verifications, then I also have to verify. And then if they're tracking all of this data, then they're going to track all this data on me. And why do I have to have all this data tracked on me and do all these verifications to prove I am who I am? Or it opens up this other sort of thing of like, why am I being policed for something that I don't need to be policed for? And then it goes back to, I don't want the kids doing this, but that's not on me, and it's not my job to police kids. That's on their fucking parents.
Is loyal short-form creators. Here's the thing. 9 times out of 10, people don't start posting short-form content because that's what they truly want to do. Rather, creators start posting short-form content because they see opportunity. They see a gold rush. Most creators never find gold, but even those who do don't want to reinvest the profits into mining for more.
And this is where I think this video kind of hits home. Most people that are doing short-form content aren't doing it because they like it. They're doing it because they're trying to grow their brand, their business, their company, or whatever. They're either repurposing long-form content into short-form content, or they're actively taking time to make short-form content to try to drive people to their long-form content. Most of us don't really want to do short-form content because there's really little return on investment to it. And I still maintain that the conversion from somebody that's willing to watch a 6 or 8 second TikTok versus somebody that's willing to sit here and hang out with us for 6 hours is relatively low. It's not to say that people don't do it, but it's relatively low.
It's simply too risky. Rather, what they want to do is sell the gold and start a stable business.
And back to this point, yeah, people don't want to mine for gold and then reinvest it to mine more gold. People want to mine for gold and then invest it into long form content that they enjoy to create to get people there. So that's sort of what most content creators do in short form.
In other words, they want to switch to long form content. Much of this attitude can actually be explained by the algorithms used to promote short form content. Your follower count on short form content really means nothing. This is why it's such a gold rush. If you start posting today, you have as good of a chance of posting a viral video as someone with 10 million followers.
Yep.
Actually, I take that back. If a creator has that many followers, they're probably pretty good at making viral content.
That's probably
the
fair.
point is that the pivotal factor is the content
It's fair, but the point still stands, right? You have just as much chance as anybody else outside of a mega creator.
itself, not the follower count. While this is great for new creators, it's absolute garbage when it comes to longevity. Creators are forced to always keep up with the latest trends and to put up something that can go viral instead of creating content that's actually impactful and meaningful.
And I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's something I've noticed too. Like, I see stuff that has like millions of views on TikTok, and I watch it and I'm like, this is fucking hot garbage. And then I'll scroll through and I'll find something where I'm like, hey, this is actually decent. I'll have next to no fucking views. You get followers because you're famous. That's gravity, right? Or that's just famous people creating social media accounts, but they're doing the same thing. People that are already famous that are doing it are using it to mine gold for their brand. People aren't getting TikTok famous and then sticking around for 50 years. Education purples, I could see that, Ern.
This is why you see so many TikTok stars that rise out of nowhere and then disappear faster than they blew up.
Right?
Recently, I was watching an Iraq video where he trapped 25 TikTokers inside his house. Many of these creators had millions, if not tens of millions of followers. So I don't
And this is hilarious, right? So these people have millions or tens of millions of followers. No idea who they are.
know if it's just me, but I had no idea who any of these people were. Let me know.
Like, if you had 20 million followers on YouTube, everybody knows who you are. You know what I mean? If you have 10 million followers on Twitch, everybody knows who the fuck you are. You're talking about people like XQC, Kai Cent, Mr. B. I mean, you're talking about people in those numbers.
Down below if you were in the same boat. But anyway, even creators who enjoy making short form content want to switch to long form because it's simply the smarter business decision. That right there covers basically 90% of short form creators. The other 10% are actually already long form creators. Personally, I'm guilty
Came across an account the other day. Their bio was deleted at 3.5, and I'm like, yo, who the fuck are you? Right?
of this as well. A lot of creators have figured that they might as well try adapting their regular long form content to short form.
And that's what we were talking about before. A lot of people, like myself and other people, take long form content and try to find a way to pigeonhole it into short form content. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I would say 90% of the time, trying to take what is already long form content and turning it into short form content is very hard.
The mentality is usually, if it works, great. If it doesn't, not a big deal.
Except for the amount of effort and time you're taking to do it, which is normally very minimal, but that's sort of the whole like throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, right?
So, little to say, no creator on TikTok, Instagram Reels, or YouTube Shorts is really loyal to said platform. For all of them, short form content is really just a springboard to garner attention or a medium to expand their existing long form content.
And I feel like if you ask anybody honestly that is doing short form content, that is actually any form of content creator at all, and you ask them honestly, they'll say the same thing. They're looking at using TikToks or YouTube Shorts to try to get exposure to so people know them and then bring it over. Yeah, it's all for marketing. Right? That's why people are doing it. But I think the conversion rate is probably worse than traditional marketing.
So, when you're trying to run a creator-driven platform with such people, well,
I think you're better off to create a very engaging YouTube video and then use YouTube ads to springboard that than you are to spend the time doing something else.
let's just say it's difficult to say the least. But building up a loyal creator base is just the first of these platforms' worries.
Loves your clips?
No.
Yeah, it's very hard to make somebody brand loyal in 30 seconds. Do you know what I mean? It's very hard to get somebody to love you in 30 seconds.
Only do these platforms,
and it's very hard to make enough clips that somebody will sit down and just watch all of your clips and not find it to be boring or repetitive or something that they don't enjoy.
have to deal with flaky creators, but they also have to deal with flaky advertisers. The reality is that no advertiser really wants to advertise on short-form content. This isn't to say that short-form advertising is always ineffective. Beheza, for example, has shown time and time again that short-form advertising is not only effective, but can be super lucrative. But with that being said, shorts just don't vibe with most brands. I mean, can you imagine GE making a TikTok ad about the refrigerators or Intel making a TikTok ad about the new i9 processor? It just doesn't feel right.
And part of that is going to be, right, because you're trying to explain a product or like the effectiveness of a product or how a product works or why it's good. And you're trying to do that in seconds. And that doesn't work as well.
Now, some legacy companies are able to pull it off. A notable example that comes to mind is Coca-Cola, but just because they're able to make effective ads doesn't mean that they want to advertise on these platforms.
And Coke is making a different kind of ad. Like, Coke's not trying to sell you on Coke, right? Like, Coke doesn't have to explain to you what Coca-Cola is. You could just be scrolling through and just see words that say Coca-Cola, and you're like, oh yeah, Coca-Cola's still a thing.
The reality is that
and that's why a brand like Coca-Cola or Pepsi or somebody like that would probably be okay advertising on short form content because they're not selling you a new product. They're just reminding you of products you already enjoy.
Most cases, these companies just don't want to associate with short form content because they see it as a risk. I'm sure you're familiar with how companies don't want to associate with the following content on YouTube. Well, newsflash, this is basically the entirety of TikTok.
Yep.
But let's even put that aside. Let's say you're okay with advertising next to this type of content. You still have the challenge of running a successful ad campaign. While TikTok can be great for promoting products like this, it's not exactly great when it comes to building general brand awareness and visibility. Oftentimes, when companies like Apple or Coca-Cola put out an ad, they're not trying to get you to buy their product. They don't even want you to click on the ad or buy on the spot. Rather, they just want to build up their brand presence.
Exactly. They're not even trying to get you to click the ad. They literally just want you to see it.
This is decently possible on YouTube given that viewers are forced to watch for 5 or 15 seconds. But on TikTok, if an ad doesn't pique the viewer's interest within 0.2 seconds, they're gonna swipe up.
So think about that. If you are like an advertiser, you can advertise on YouTube, guaranteed 5 seconds to try to grab your audience, or you can advertise on TikTok, and they can swipe in 0.2 seconds. Which one are you going to advertise on?
This means that advertisers are forced to include some sort of a gimmicky hook, which, again, just doesn't fit with their brand image.
Right, because, like, so say you're somebody like me. I don't know if you guys are somebody like me. I hate, like, overly fake shit. It just bothers me. It irritates me. So if I was to watch a brand put out some, like, clickbaity type ad, it would instantly turn me off of that brand forever.
And if you don't believe me, you can just look at the numbers. For my usual videos, I generally get an ad rate of $4 to $5 per 1,000 views. For shorts, however, I generally get an ad rate of 5 cents.
Did you see that? For every 1,000 views on YouTube, he gets $5. For every 1,000 short views, he gets 5 cents. That's right there tells you which one you should be spending your time trying to watch or trying to create.
Per 1,000 views. This basically indicates that advertisers are 100 times less likely to bid on short-form ad slots as opposed to long-form ad slots. It also gives a lot more context as to why creators want to switch to long-form content so badly. The reality is that if you want to make a living off of short-form content, you have to pull in a brain-dead amount of views every single month.
And on top of pulling in It's decided you're going for shorts. I mean, how could you not want to stick all your time there? Do you know what I mean, Hawk? On top of that, on top of just like the fact that it pays less, the effort you have to put in, like, granted, there's shorter videos. You have to stay so far on top of trends. You have to know exactly what's going on, and you're living and dying by the blade every day. That is where it's so hard for people. Then slap together, even click through sucks. And that's where a lot of people look at it. And I think, though, I think there's a break point for that, Sheldon. So if the time, like if you only have so much time in a day to create content, you have to sort of look at it and go, where does it make time? Is it better for me to spend a couple hours creating the short form content for a lower click-through rate? Or is it better for me to spend 2 or 3 hours to make one really good long form video that's going to have a better ratio? Once you get larger, you can sort of like hire people to help you out, and then it makes sense to branch out. But I think like when you're starting, you really have to watch what you're doing. When you're big enough, you can throw wider nets.
To make just $5,000 per month, for example, you have to pull in 100 million views. Let me phrase that in a different way. You have to reach 1/8 of the entire world population every single year just to make 60 grand.
You have to reach 1/8 of the world's population every year on your shorts to make 60 grand. That's fucking nutty.
At least creators have the option to do direct brand deals or promote their own products.
And honestly, as a content creator, once you start getting larger, most of your money isn't going to come from ads, it's going to come from brand deals. And that is true.
For these platforms, on the other hand, the only way they make money is through these ads. So even with their ridiculous scale, it's just not all that profitable. So it's no wonder why Meta is losing $2 billion every single year by pushing short form content. While unloyal creators and hesitant advertisers are no doubt a pain in the neck, at least there's some hope with that. As more modern companies start advertising on short-form platforms, ad rates should go up, which should make creating short-form more worthwhile for platforms and creators. But something that these platforms can't recover from is a waning audience.
Shady, yeah.
The truth is that people are getting tired of predictable TikTok content, and the main reason for this is that these types of videos rarely have any substance. Every single video is based around a thirst trap or some sort of gimmick, but rarely do they have any sort of real takeaway or message. This is why people forget about most shorts within 2 minutes of watching it. It feels good in the moment, but the feeling doesn't last long. But wait a minute, isn't people's attention spans getting crushed by these platforms? Well, to be honest, I think this effect is vastly overstated. TikTok is basically like ice cream. People like eating ice cream. They may even eat it on a daily basis. But just because a person eats ice cream, it doesn't mean that they're suddenly going to stop eating steak or pizza or burgers or real food in general.
Welcome back, Burns. I think to their point right here, so TikTok, short form content, people's like low attention spans or whatever, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't change the fact that some people sit on TikTok for hours. And you could argue that because of the short attention spans, they're cycling through short content. But they're still sitting there for hours and devoting hours worth of time on content that they're going to get up and walk away and never think about again. I think he's making a really good point here. And that even if you did eat ice cream every day, you would still want other food. And eventually people would tire of eating ice cream every day. You know what I mean? Like, you eat ice cream every day. After 6 months or a year, you're going to be like, I don't want another fucking drop of ice cream for the rest of the year.
In fact, if you had the option of only consuming ice cream or pizza, I'm pretty sure that virtually everyone will choose pizza.
Sorry, future diabetes doctor. You tell me after 3 years of all you want to do. Why are we yelling loud noises? You do it after 3 years, Hawk, and tell me how good you like it.
Back, the pandemic forced most people to stay at home, which
That's such a good Office throwback.
led to them snacking way more than usual. But as people return to their normal lives, their social media diet is also returning to real food, and this is already evident in the stats. In 2021, TikTok rose to be the most popular domain in the entire world. But in 2022, TikTok fell down to number 3 as Google and Facebook regained their leads.
I think it was Rachel. I think Burns was doing an Office thing. I think that feels like a Michael Scott thing.
Looking forward, it seems like this trend will only continue as TikTok is looking more and more like Vine.
I think.
I know that most of you just remember Vine as a big failure.
A lot of us remember Vine like with some sort of like joy and reverence though. Like Vine was awesome for what it was, but as for like being a sustainable platform that made a company money so they could keep it online, I mean, obviously it had to go away because it just didn't make any money, even if it was fun.
But Vine was actually super popular for a period of time. In fact, at the end of 2015, Vine had as many as 200 million users. Why did Vine fail then, you ask? Well, you can take it from the horse's mouth itself. Twitter, the parent company of Vine, was unable and/or unwilling to pay the creators that made the platform so popular in the first place.
Yep, you would have to pay. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons for it.
This was actually Jack Dorsey's biggest regret. But what is TikTok doing? Well, they're unable and/or unwilling to pay the creators that made their platform so big. And as audiences and creators naturally shift back to Facebook and YouTube, these platforms see less of a reason to be so aggressive when it comes to promoting shorts. In the end, it's not surprising why companies are backing away from short-form content. The reality is that creators are just using shorts as a springboard. Advertisers don't want to get involved, and audiences are by no means ditching long-form content. This isn't to say that TikTok is going to die like Vine, but what has become abundantly clear is that short-form content is simply an addition to long-form content, not a replacement like the media often suggests.
Short form is going to be something that'll be there as long as TikTok can not go under. Short form will be there, but it'll be there alongside long form content. I can see that for sure. The question is, will short form be profitable enough for people to put effort in?
So Meta and YouTube no longer feel threatened by TikTok.
Because I have to look at it like a mid 30-year-old man that's trying to find a way to do this career for the next 20 to 30 years. And I have to try to find ways that are sustainable long term.
If anything,
how was work, Crowley?
TikTok that strives to be more like Meta and YouTube so that they don't end up like Vine. Combine this with the recession, and it simply makes no sense to bet so much on a historically flaky medium. And that's why companies are already giving up and pulling back on short-form content.
I think as TikTok adds more long-form content and people are able to upload long-form content and then show off their like personality in short-form content, and it'll do well for content creators on that platform.
Did you ever buy into
How's the new Office?
The short-form craze? Comment that down below. Also, drop a like if you're glad that...
I don't know, guys. So I feel like this was a good video and a good conversation for any of you guys out there that are sort of content creators yourself, looking at content creation, trying to figure out where you want to put your money, your time, your effort, your energy. There was really good information here, and I think we had some real good conversations here. Ban everyone who dances on TikTok. That's it. 80% of TikTok gone. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Let me know if you have found short form content profitable. If you have, how long you've been doing short form, and if you plan on staying purely short form, or if you yourself are actually looking at moving out. And if you're a long form content creator, are you using short form content to grow your business, or are you actually trying to transition into short form content? I think these are all really good conversations. So let's have them down in the comment section. And as always, have a great day.